War Eagle, War Report family, I'm your host, C-Dub, and today's live show is brought to you by our friends over at GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Listen, if you're a restaurant owner and you're looking for ways to save energy, you need to go to GWT2Energy.com. Our weekend tailgate starts right now.
You are now listening to the unmistakable sound of the War Report. Weekend Tailgate. It's your boy, Ike Jones. Be real. C-Dub. Mike G. Get ready. Sit on back as we bring you the War Report. Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, War Report family, I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. Happy Sunday. Come on in, guys. Smash the like button. Do us a quick favor. Drop a War Eagle in the comments. We see some of you guys doing that already. War Eagle back at you guys. If you're new to our page and watching us live for the very first time, please be sure to drop your city and state and where you're watching us from. We definitely want to hear from you guys. And as always, be sure to share this video. If you're enjoying the content that you're getting from us in the off season and moving forward, please be sure to let other people know that we're out here dropping great content for you, talking about the things that are relevant to Auburn football. Please use the hashtag #GetYourWeight Mike G, we got some things coming up this week, brother. What we got?
Oh, man. Listen, if you don't know already, become an insider. $5.99 a month will get you there. We've got some exciting content coming for you guys in the coming weeks. And if you missed it, we are running a ticket giveaway for tickets to the Akron game. And what we need you guys to do to enter this week is like us on Instagram at the War Report. We have posted a post about today's Weekend Tailgate show. Comment with your YouTube name so we know who to credit that entry with. And then tag 2 Auburn fans in the post. So like us on Instagram, like the post, comment with your YouTube username, and tag 2 people, and that will get you an entry into this drawing. 4 tickets to the Akron game. We are giving away 2 tickets to a single member. If you are an insider, you are automatically entered into this contest, right? So you've got 3 entries. Everybody can get up to 5, but insiders can get as many as 8 entries into this drawing. August 14th, we're going to draw for the winner, so you guys have a little bit of time to plan if you happen to win the tickets, but we're really excited to give these tickets away to one of our loyal listeners. So again, follow us on Instagram, like the post, comment with your username, and then tag 2 people, and that will enter you into this drawing. Other than that, listen, we are officially partnered with the Lee County Humane Society. Thank you again to everybody who sent well wishes to myself and my dog, Aubie. She is coming out the other side of what was a really tough few weeks for us. But we want to help the Lee County Humane Society save more dogs like Aubie and help match them with loving homes like the one that my dog has here and the one that I know Ike's dog has down there in the Birmingham, Alabama area. So you can go to the About section on our YouTube channel and find a link to this fundraiser. 50 cents on every dollar goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them take great care of animals in their building. It costs them about $19 a day to take care of animals that are there for 30 to 45 days on average before they can find them a good home. We really believe in this work. This is the good that we've decided to put back into the world. You know, for people who listen to us regularly, you know, we have a passion for this. And I also appreciate the pictures that you all have sent me of your rescue animals and your baby dogs and kittens and animals that bring joy to your life. We want to please help us help other people find that same joy by donating through that link. Our merch store is live, so you can hit our merch store and get your weight up with some War Report gear. You can also find this link in the About section of our YouTube channel. And then last but not least, we're giving away a mug today. So If you want to win this mug, hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter, and we're going to draw out the 1 hour mark. That's hashtag get your weight up. Check your spelling, make sure it's spelled right, or the giveaway filters won't catch it. And we're going to draw, and somebody's going to win that at the 1 hour mark.
Definitely want to shout out those of you in the comment section, and we're seeing you already. I think people are by default dropping get your weight up even before you even announce it. So that's good to see. Shout out to everyone watching live with us on a Sunday. Shout out to you guys. First off, how you fellas doing?
It's good.
Not bad, huh?
A little gloomy outside, but it's not terrible.
Okay, well, sun is out. It's supposed to rain in a little bit here, but who knows with this Alabama weather. But some news, man. Listen, we had an amazing guest. If you guys didn't get a chance to watch us on this last live on Wednesday night for the War Room, we had Brian Matthews of AuburnSports.com on with us to talk recruiting. And because Auburn had such a busy week, it seems like that live show was like 3 months ago because a lot has changed since then. Like that video didn't age quite as well, because we did get some news. And some of that news is that Auburn has a new receiver coming to the Plains for 2021. Now, this has been a talk ever since spring practice ended. And some of the things that was interesting to me about what Brian Matthews says is that even though we feel good about the type of talent we brought in for that position, albeit it's very young, the coaching staff was a bit underwhelmed by how they performed during spring and in the spring game. So the talk about Auburn going out and getting a receiver was pretty much a talking point, but we wasn't quite sure who this guy was. I think we had Jeffrey Lee on a little over a month ago, and he said that there was some kid who had yet to enter the portal that the staff was talking about. Right. He alluded to some guy who was actually in state. So obviously that's not him. This kid that we're talking about is actually Demetrius Robertson. For those who aren't familiar with who this kid is, he's 6 foot, 180 pounds. He's a former 5-star recruit and was a former number 8 overall player in the 2016 class. This kid went out to Cal and played 2 seasons, really 1 season and like 2 games, because he suffered an injury and was held out the rest of the year, his second year. But while he was at Cal, he had a total of 52 receptions for 837 yards and 7 touchdowns. While at Georgia, he had a good year in 2019 where he had 30 receptions and for 333 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, one of the things that I saw when looking at some of his highlight tape is that Georgia used him a lot on speed sweeps. He, in fact, actually, I think in his first year at Georgia, ran a long touchdown run on a speed sweep. So knowing Brian Harsin and how he likes to use his offense, he does rely on speed sweeps a lot. And so the idea is that this is someone who can definitely help with that part of the offense. So this is the guy this guy's been around for a while. So he definitely has 1 year left of eligibility, but he has something that Auburn has not had or doesn't currently have. And that's a lot of game experience. So that's his stats there. Again, this has been a much talked about thing for a while. Does Auburn need a wide receiver? We felt like we didn't really need one, just develop the guys that we have. But here we are. So I'm going to start with you, B. What do you think about this move? Has Auburn addressed its concerns and needs? What are your thoughts about this move altogether?
It's always going to be a positive when we get more talent in. Experienced talent, even better. And he is more experienced. He has more production in college than any of the guys we have on our roster. He has more snaps. Shedrick has gotten snaps, but he doesn't have the production. He's already been in 2 places, which is a good thing. So he knows how to adjust to a new place. He had to do that once already. The thing that makes it kind of a wash for me is you don't know what you have in this guy because he didn't really get the production. They used him for speed sweeps. That sounds similar to what we did with Eli Stove early. And Eli Stove turned into a better wide receiver. His body kind of failed him a little bit with the injuries, but you don't know what you have in this guy because either A, Georgia didn't use him to his full potential, or B, what his full potential was or what everybody expected it to be, maybe he's not really that guy. When you're looking at somewhere like Georgia, who very much needs wide receivers, their best wide receiver got hurt in the offseason. George Pickens got hurt. He's out for this year. Was that this year or last year that he got hurt?
It was
off season. It was
spring. I think it was spring.
Yeah.
So if you've got your number one wide receiver is hurt, you've got somebody who is a highly touted recruit, and he supposedly has a lot of potential, then why isn't this guy now the focal point of that team's wide receiver room? And that leads me to question, why is he leaving? Why didn't he pan out there? And also, what does that mean for us? I have no idea what that means for us because it seems to be more of the same type of guy, which is a lot of potential, unproven, and we don't really know what we have. We just have one more of those right now. He's experienced at the very least. So do I think he can come in and get up to speed and show the urgency about preparing to play and being ready to get on the field and produce? Yes, he will have that urgency. This is his last year. I love 1 year guys because they're experienced enough to come in and pick stuff up, and they know it's do or die right now. If I have any hope of being a professional player, I have to come in and show right here. That last stop is Auburn. If I don't go all out here, then my professional career is in serious jeopardy. I like having guys who have that type of pressure already because I know I'm going to get their best. We know we're going to get their best, and that's a good thing. But what is his best? Do we have any reason to believe that we know what this guy's best is? We don't. And so for me, it's more question mark than anything. I'm glad we got him, but I still don't know what we're getting in him. So I don't know.
Talk to me, Mike G.
Okay, so I'm torn. When Brian Matthews came on, I was very clear that I'm still in the camp that thinks we have a wide receiver room with a ton of talent, just not a ton of experience. Right. We return 15% of our receiving yards from last season. So this kid comes in as a former number one overall wide receiver. A lot of people looked at him and said, this guy has tremendous talent. And for perspective, when you are rated a top 10 talent in the country, those guys normally go first or second round in the draft.
Right.
Now, those kids don't always pan out depending on the particular situations that they go to. But in his situation, one of the reasons he's transferring, as I understand it, is that he got passed on the depth chart this spring. Mm-hmm. So that being said, in my book, what he's really bringing is experience. But he does not have a history with any of the quarterbacks on our roster. So he's going to have to go out and develop some sort of chemistry real fast, or be a go up and get it guy, right? A fail safe for the quarterback where, hey, listen, all else fails, throw it up to Demetrius, he'll go get it.
He's 6 feet though.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah. I mean,
he's
again,
not that guy.
Yeah. That's kind of my point, right? Like, it is. I'm not super excited about this. I mean, what he does bring is he brings game experience, which could be valuable. Is it worth it though to possibly stunt the growth of the young guys that we've had in our system to play this guy? Does he add that much to your wide receiver room at this point? I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying I'm not that over the top excited about it because what I am excited about is I'm excited about kids like Xavion, JJ, Malcolm Johnson Jr. I've been on him for a while.
Yeah.
Capers, all these guys. I'm excited about these guys. Am I really that excited about a 1 year player coming in at a position where it's not like getting a senior 1 year guy at defensive back, where you control a lot of your own destiny? You can either cover your guy and play your position, or you can't.
Yeah.
Right.
At receiver, chemistry is a thing, man. It's a factor and The person throwing him the ball is a factor as well, too, which we have major question marks there. So unless he's that guy, unless you're that dynamic of a talent where you can go bail out an average quarterback, then what does he really add to this wide receiver room? I mean, I know that might sound overly negative to a lot of people, but I'm just not over the moon jumping up and down. Yes, we got him. Okay, we got him. We have a lot of other things that we need to work out on offense for him to even have a chance to be a factor in this offense.
Right.
At wide receiver. Now, let me add this last point. We have said this before in previous segments. We talked about this with King Dunlap and some other former players where they have openly said that wide receiver is one of the toughest positions in terms of your overall potential because of how many different factors can affect the receiver before the ball even gets to them. Your line doesn't block, it affects the receivers, right? Your quarterback makes the wrong read. Everybody does everything perfect, but the defense just gets the one up on your offensive line. It affects the receivers.
Yeah.
Other receivers running the wrong routes can affect you. So, again, no, I'm not getting down on this. I think that at this point, adding more experience can't necessarily be a bad thing.
Right.
But I'm just going to trust this staff to manage that. I don't think it's an automatic that he even plays.
So wait, let me ask this then, and I ask this to both you, Caesar, and Mike. So we know we've got experience issues in the wide receiver room, but there were two people who didn't play. One was Shedrick, and we don't know that he absolutely has a pass to get on the field because I don't think anybody on this team has a pass to get on the field outside of Bo, because when we started the spring, he was the only person with any sort of meaningful experience and potential at the same time. But in the wide receiver room, we didn't see, was it Xavion that was out all spring?
Yeah.
So Xavion was out all spring. Shedrick was out all spring. And even if Shedrick wasn't the greatest handed wide receiver, he was still the most experienced one that we had left. Could it be, I guess what I'm thinking is it possible that we had enough, we just didn't see him in the spring, and this guy is kind of in the mix of the top three? Or is he immediately like, this is it. This is our number one go-to guy?
To be determined, as far as I'm concerned. And I think one of the things when I think about experience, because yes, we do have people who have experience. They just didn't see the field in spring, to your point, B. But I think there's no one who has experience running a similar offense that Brian Harsin wants to run. Georgia has run a comparable type of offense, in my opinion. So I think that has to be stated here with this guy. And so when we talk about experience, I do like what he brings in a sense that he can be an asset in that wide receiver room with guys who are learning an offense that is much more complicated than the previous system they've been exposed to. I think that my concern though with this is who have the coaches been talking about all of spring out of the wide receiver room?
Javaris,
who is a slot guy.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, so this move kind of confuses me in a bit because I'm thinking you're getting you're getting a wide out. I'm thinking you're getting, a flank or someone. Like, to me, this move is kind of puzzles me because I thought Javaris, we were singing his praises, right? If anyone was getting the offense, it would be him. So to me, I think that's the thing that I find puzzling. Again, I have to trust the coaching staff, and I'm not down on this kid. I just thought this was a very puzzling move to get a guy for a position that it appears the coaching staff felt comfortable about because you had a guy who had been performing well.
Yeah, I think the move is it just comes down to lack of on-field experience. But everybody is inexperienced until you get experience. So what I expect to see is a lot of guys are going to go out and get experience this year.
Yeah,
that's not even in question because there is nobody else. I don't even think it's if it's a guarantee that he plays. I think when I say plays, I mean like starts. He'll get on the field, certainly. I think he'll get on the field. But thinking back to A-Day, if I am Malcolm Johnson Jr., for example, I had arguably the best catch of the day. I'm not letting some former 5-star who couldn't cut it on his own squad come in and take my spot. What? Man, have a seat.
But wouldn't that be the net positive for him as an addition? Is, hey, everybody else thinks it's wide open. This is my first time getting major experience, and then they bring somebody else in, like, oh no, buddy. No. Yeah. What we hope the TJ Finley effect will have for Bo is what we're hoping that an experienced wide receiver, the effect that he should have on the entire wide receiving room.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. Even if it's just, listen, if it's, again, we talked about it, the quarterback position, nothing wrong with competition. There's absolutely nothing wrong with competition.
Right.
Some guys will wilt in the face of that and others will raise their game. If this guy's coming in and he expects to play, I hope he's a film junkie.
Yeah.
WTF. I hope he sits down. I'll send him the t-shirt. Now that I know it won't get him suspended. But watch the film. little name likeness joke for you. So that's what it's going to boil down to. And we've talked a lot about this at quarterback. I think the receivers should feel the same way. We've been in here. We've been in this system. We have a whole spring under this new coach. You're not just going to walk in the summer and start unless you're truly dynamic. In which case, the best man will play.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, in year one, I honestly believe that I'm trusting that the evaluation methods of this new coaching staff will be different enough that we can trust that the person who they really think is the best will play.
Yeah.
No favoritism, no bull. Just put the best man out there that gives us the best chance to win. That if you're a receiver, almost every spot is open.
Yeah.
Nobody can lay claim to a starting job like Tank. Think about it. On offense, who can lay claim really to any job but Tank?
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Everybody else is in a dogfight for their job. Some guys establish themselves in that position after years and years of actually producing, where you really have to blow it, or the person who takes the job from you just has to be transcended. We don't have that, but I think that we do, and these young guys have some transcendent talent. So I'm not down on this because I know everybody's gonna be like, oh, Mike's being all negative about this guy coming in. Competition is not a bad thing. I hope that's first and foremost. I hope that's what he brings.
Yeah, like we're not mad at that. It's just it was interesting. Of all the places for competition, they picked the slot route, and it feels like we got some guys that if we do want to bring up a bright spot in the wide receiver, that's it. I'm fine with the competition and pushing the guys. That's all fine and good. I was surprised it was a slot guy. That's
I'll tell you what, you bring in a guy with 1 year left to play and risk upsetting the natural development of the guys you have in your room that still have 2-3 years left to play. He better contribute immediately and meaningfully.
Right.
That's it. He has to contribute immediately.
Yeah.
You got to get, in other words, you got to get this one right.
Right. Or you risk pissing off the guys that you have. And then I'm like, I'm going into next year. I'm just thinking, what other one-hit wonder are they going to bring in to play over me that's not going to contribute in any kind of way?
And that's something we don't think we're going to see from this staff, and that's going to be a difference between this staff and the last staff. Is you're going to come in, we're going to bring a guy in, and now all of y'all are going to fend for yourselves. Whoever rises to the top, that's who's going to get the snaps, that's who's going to see the field, and that's who's going to get the opportunity to produce. Right. And that's just what it is. So if you don't win this job, you're going to understand how and why you didn't win this job, and you're not going to have a gripe about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the competition aspect of it, though, right? Because this guy's coming in, he feels like he has something to prove, and it will be, it will be important that the guys who he might actually take a spot from step up to the challenge and raise their game.
Yeah,
because that is how you build depth. I just think that bringing in a 1-year guy at wide receiver, it's not like other positions, though. Right, you need to be able, and I see a comment here about something about complaining about depth all offseason and then now complaining that we're getting depth. I don't know that that's what we're getting, though. Having depth is not just about having warm bodies on the roster. We had plenty of that before, too.
This is a stopgap more than anything. This
Correct.
dude is only here 1 year.
Right. You might actually hurt your depth. In this,
well,
if he takes meaningful, if he takes meaningful snaps from somebody and is not a meaningful contributor.
Well, and the hope is, Mike, the hope is that if he's not that guy to take my belief is that this coaching staff is going to give meaningful snaps to who earns it and who deserves it. Right. But if he doesn't get on the field, and I guess this is just a chance you take with taking any kid, whether it be recruiting or out of the portal.
Right.
You want to make sure if you're going to go to this trouble to bring a guy this late into the summer, that this guy is going to contribute and see the field.
Right. Yeah, so, absolutely.
To be determined.
If I'm trying to make a comparison, Drayshawn Miller is kind of that example, right? Where we bring a guy in on the other side of the ball, and he is one of the best defenders in the conference, in his conference before at West Virginia. So he's bringing in experience, like stats, though, right? Like, I mean, solid stats,
right?
And you bring a guy like that, I expect him to play. I expect that if they bring a guy like that in, he is going to contribute early and often. But he says he's got a 1-year plan to make it to the NFL. That's his stated goal. Go to Auburn, ball out, go pro. That's what he thinks he's going to do. If he accomplishes that, that means that he did contribute meaningfully to our program. So I'm expecting if they're bringing this guy in, he's going to be that kind of contributor just on offense.
We hope that. But of course, the major difference with the reason people left West Virginia in droves is because their defensive coordinator left.
Right. Yeah.
So they had a reason to get out of Dodge. The guy who was developing them and that they liked and that they played well for was no longer there. So they had a reason to leave. Everything's the same in Georgia. And that's still, I'm always going to look at why are you leaving? What changed in your situation that made you leave?
Right.
And where did you end up after that? Like B. Matt was talking about it on the show Wednesday when we're talking about where our guys go once they leave here. Very rarely do players take a step up.
Right.
Or coaches, for that matter. You know what I'm saying? There was some big jobs open, but a group of 5 is who was open and available to Gus Malzahn. And I'm not going to make an assessment from here. We'll leave it there. Y'all know how we feel about Gus. So when people are coming to get our players, Shea Garnett, we wanted to see him spin it. We just wanted to see him get a chance to spin it. He ends up at Division II school. Our guys leave here and they go down as far as the program that they go to, their success, their history, how likely they are to compete wherever they're at. They take a step down. Now, does that mean we were getting the wrong guys or were we getting the wrong guys for here? I don't know which that is, but you come in as a 5-star. Let's put out of our minds that this guy he came from Georgia. Okay. He went to Cal as a 5-star recruit anywhere. If we got a 5-star recruit and we had very limited production from him and then he transfers, we'd be gnawing at the coach for like, man, listen, why didn't that work out? We've been gnawing at Gus for years now. Listen, man, we see the stars, but we don't see the production. Now, is that the coach's fault or the guy's fault? Maybe both. But at this point, he has been a highly touted recruit 2 times and does not have the production to show for it. The first time, I'll give you one time, hey, they use you wrong.
He showed a little bit at Cal. He showed a little bit at Cal.
It showed a little bit. I mean, Georgia's a better program than Cal. So the move up is good, but they used him completely differently. at Georgia than Cal? Is it because he couldn't do what Cal was trying to get him to do? Is it shortcomings in his game why Georgia limited him to slaughter to speed sweeps, or is it is he not as well? This is not fact. This is just rumor. When he announced it, there were some comments on Twitter up under his announcement. Yeah, they couldn't get him to block. He wasn't a willing blocker. And for as much as Georgia runs, that was a deal breaker. So they limited him to roles in the offense where he would not have to block, or they wouldn't have to count on him to block.
Interesting. Okay.
If that is the case here, Mike, you're right. He's not going to see the field. We know what this is going to look like this season. Right. He's going to be blocking, buddy. So you had to know that before you came here. You cool with that? I hope he's cool with that.
Well, I'm pretty sure you told him he was cool with that.
I mean, he knew what it looked like here, and that's a good thing. He knew exactly what it looked like coming in here. He knows what our QB situation is. He knows what our O-line situation is. He knows what our running back situation is. So he knows what he's coming into. And like Mike already alluded to, you know you've got 1 year. He's only got 1 year of eligibility. You have to make this your best season ever. And there is a good spot. And like Mike, we've already talked about, we like our wide receivers. They need some experience. If you're going to be the most experienced guy here, here is your best opportunity. Still on a major stage, you're going to get to play your old team. You're going to get to play Bama. You're going to get to play LSU. You're going to get to play Penn State in a primetime game. Every opportunity to get the spotlight this year, you'll have it.
Right.
As on paper, the most senior wide receiver and the most experienced wide receiver. Now is your time to shine. And I hope that is his driving force. I hope that covers for some shortcomings in his game. Maybe if run blocking was an issue, I hope that effort from this being his last chance to show pros what he can do, maybe we get all of that from him, and this is a success story. And it's worth it for us because we would have gotten the best year out of a 5-star talent, and it's worth it for our wide receiver room because even if they do have to sit back, they know it's just 1 year. This guy's gone.
Right.
I'm gonna show the coaches. You don't put him 2 and 3 years behind like Demetrius Davis. Demetrius Davis would be looking at if he wasn't talented enough and TJ Finley comes in. That would be intimidating to a QB who didn't quite think he was good enough. But to Demetrius Davis, it's not, because he is good enough, and I'm glad he believes in himself like we do. But for these other wide receivers, it gives them enough motivation, I think, to know this is just 1 year.
Right.
And even if you get on the field ahead of me in experience, I'm coming for you. I'm taking notes. I'm watching what you do. Right. And I'm going to elevate my game from there. So hopefully it's a good thing. I'm hoping it's a good thing. But I'm like you, Mike. I've got my concerns.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's okay to, if you have been watching us for longer than January of this year, you know that we know how to root for Auburn yet have concerns, right? So at the end of the day, we do have questions about this one, but at the end of the day, we're hoping for the best for this kid, for that wide receiver room, for the offense. The offense just has to get better.
Yeah, you know what? There are a couple comments here that I would say kind of is an angle that we haven't talked about. This is why I love our comment section. But part of the move could be just kind of mismanagement of his talent at Georgia.
Perhaps.
They weren't using him the way, I mean, because, some players have a vision about how their talents are best utilized, and you're trusting coaches to put you in the best position. But at the end of the day, if you're not getting production, you're not having a productive career, and your vision with the coaches don't align, it might be like, let me go someplace where they have a better vision for how to use my particular talent. And possibly. Just because you manage some players right doesn't mean you manage other players correctly. So despite the droves of talent that have come through Georgia, this just might be one that they didn't get right. And
you mean one that we didn't get right? Another guy just got drafted 11 overall after making 2 college football playoff appearances, but they've been at home for the college football playoff the last 2 years. This is just one they didn't get right.
Yeah. I'm just saying in particular about this guy. Here's one that they just didn't get right, and he's coming to Auburn, and probably Coach Williams and Brian Harsin said, we've got a better plan for your 1-year development, and it's still going to be a battle. You're still going to have to compete, but come here and compete because you already got past at Georgia.
Right. I can live with that.
The writing was on the wall. Let's be clear here. If this kid thought that he still had a chance, a good chance, a better than good chance to be what he should be at Georgia, he would stay there.
Yeah.
The writing was on the wall there, and they've been recruiting at a high level. So, it's next stud up. And it doesn't mean that he is not that player. It's just that sometimes, coaches, once they become unenamored with a player, it's hard to get that back.
Right.
And you do need a fresh start, and you need to go someplace else.
I can live with that.
To reset, right? Like once you don't live up to expectations, regardless of whose fault it is, sometimes it's very hard for players to overcome that. So he still may be very talented.
Oh, I know he's talented. He has to be talented.
Yeah,
right?
but they were not able to get over some things that maybe they felt he didn't do well, and now they're getting new recruits in. And they're like, let's just move on from this.
Yeah. One of the questions that was mentioned before we get to another question from the comment section. Apparently, it was some bogus situation where he ended up with a felony. He got a boot on his car. He removed it. And apparently that's considered like a felony. I don't think the coaching staff is concerned about that, or else they wouldn't have taken this kid. I think that's going to be handled and addressed fairly easy and quickly. So I don't look at that as being a roadblock at this point in the process. I think
and he's coming for 1 year.
Right.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be worried. I wouldn't be that worried.
We'll be honest. He's here it's a 6 months rental.
Yeah. For sure.
Facts.
Yeah,
he's going pro no matter what. So I mean,
yeah, I'm ready to see. Can't stress enough. I'm ready to see what the effect this whole change is going to have on our wide receiver room.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody can argue that position has been underdeveloped at Auburn for a while, and we've had grade A talent come through here, and we have grade A talent still in the pipe. I want to see these kids do well, and we talk to people in and around the program, man. I'm telling you, the one thing that I tell some people that we talk to, I'll say that, is that when we talk to former players, the number one thing that they say that they wish they had taken seriously when they were in school was watching film. Right. And, if this guy isn't bringing that to the table, I'm telling you for certain, I know we have players probably as we speak right now watching film in that wide receiver room, getting ready. They're not taking this lightly. It's the same thing that's happening over across the hall at quarterback. Neither one of these guys is taking the decision to bring TJ Finley in lightly. TJ's not taking it lightly. Bo's not taking it lightly.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to alter the course of somebody's life. Mm-hmm. Somebody's life is going to be really different after this year.
Right.
Depending on who wins that job. Go back across the hall to the receiver room. And opportunities may be limited this year based on what happens with your brothers over at quarterback.
Yeah.
So you're definitely not making any plays from the bench. And there are already going to be limited opportunities to make plays depending on the game plan, to the run-heavy game plan we expect. So I definitely want to be one of those guys on the field this year, getting one of those limited opportunities to make plays. Mm-hmm. And it's not, if I'm Capers or Canyon or Malcolm, right? It's not just 1 year.
Right.
The hell with that. It's a year of your life sitting on the bench for some guy who just marched in from Georgia and thought he was going to take a spot from me.
Right.
It's not just, for us in fan years, it's kind of like, oh, it's just 1 year. For players, that's a lifetime. A year is a lifetime to sit on the bench behind some guy.
That's one less year. I get to prove myself.
I'm telling you, that could be the difference between first round and fourth round.
You just shrunk my ceiling.
Yeah, for the guys who have the highest expectations of what their careers are going to be, they plan on having a 3-year career.
Yeah, it's not just 1 year.
Yeah, for sure.
So thank you for applying, but please have a seat. Hold my beer, right? And if you not 21, then hold my Zima or whatever people under 21 drink.
That's
right.
Is it Zima still alcohol or am I tripping?
Is it? I don't know.
It's such a light alcohol that under 21 you can drink.
Right. Yeah, that's not how that works. But I get what you're saying. Listen,
I'm just like, listen, they shouldn't be taking this lightly at all. And I know we have some dog mentality receivers in that room. Yeah. Facts. I don't care what anybody says. And yes, that is insider information. Right? I know we have some dog mentality receivers in that room that are going to raise the level of their game. I just hope that the coaches and the game plan give them an opportunity to do that. But they're preparing. They're preparing like winners right now. That's part of what makes me so excited for this season. We have guys who are preparing like winners.
Yeah.
They're not preparing like guys who don't have experience. They're preparing like guys who have tons of experience. Watching film, getting ready, trying to learn the things that the coaches are going to ask them to do so that they can hit the field on Saturdays and play fast. And when I say that, I mean, your body, you know what you're supposed to be doing, so it comes more naturally. Because the worst thing that can happen to a football player on a football field is you're sitting there trying to think about everything that you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Well,
listen, I'm rooting for again, War Eagle Demetrius. Welcome to the Plains. Best wishes to you. I'm excited about the fall and the competition that's going to come as a result of these changes with the roster, the new additions we have, guys raising their level of competition. I'm excited about it, man. We're getting close with each passing week, and I'm ready to see it unfold. My G, let's talk about what we got because we're almost at the halfway point. Talk about what we got coming up, sir.
Listen, Become an Insider, film breakdowns. If you have not seen the new segment we dropped for the record, our next one we released the last one for everybody because we were running the promotion to get entered for the game tickets. But the next one that's coming out this Thursday will be insider only. We're talking tight ends. We are talking about tight end numbers. You don't want to miss this segment. We have partnered with Justin Ferguson over at the Auburn Observer, and he goes through these incredible stats with us to help paint a picture of where we were, where we are, where we hope to be. So tight ends has been a really hot topic, and tight end usage is going to be an important storyline coming in the season. You don't want to miss that. Insiders, you guys will get this segment Thursday, so become an insider so that you can get that segment. Other than that, we're partnered with the Lee County Humane Society. I never get tired of talking about this. We are helping them save animals, right? Thank you to everybody who wished my Albie well wishes. She is hopefully on the other side of the health challenges that we had, but we want to help the Lee County Humane Society save more dogs like Albie and get them into good homes. So you can find the link to this fundraiser in the About section of our YouTube channel. Please go there and donate. 50 cents on every dollar goes to helping them achieve their mission. And this is the good that we've chosen to put back in the world that we're really proud of. At the top of the broadcast, if you missed it, hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter to win a War Report mug. We'll draw for that in about 20 minutes. Check your spelling, make sure that it's good to go. And then we are giving away tickets to the Akron game. So if you're watching this, to get entered for this, you have to do a few things. You need to like us on Instagram. Like and follow the War Report on Instagram. Then like the post on Instagram about today's Weekend Tailgate show. Comment with your YouTube name and then tag 2 other Auburn fans that you know would enjoy the War Report in the comments, and that will get you an entry into the raffle for 2 tickets to the Akron game. First game of the season, first game of the Brian Harsin era. So say it one more time. Follow us on Instagram, like the post about the Weekend Tailgate, comment with your YouTube name so we know who you are and who to credit, because your YouTube name is what gets entered into the raffle. And then tag 2 people to that post, and we will enter you in. If you're an insider, you already have 3 entries into this raffle. If you're a supporter, you have 2 entries into this raffle. But you can all gain an additional entry by doing this. Some people got another additional entry last week by dropping hashtag season tickets on the premiere For the Record. This week, this is what we need you guys to do. We want to grow that Instagram following. This is how you can help us. And in return, 2 tickets to the Akron game, possibly for whoever wins that. So we're looking forward to dropping that there. It's funny. When we decided to give away tickets to the game, I thought, man, coming off of COVID, people are clamoring to get back to football. I know it's just Akron, but I can only imagine what the atmosphere is going to be like on the inside of Jordan Hare for that first game.
Indeed.
Man, people are going to want to see, hey, what are we going to look like? There are so many storylines. Mm-hmm. Being able to be there and watch it in person is a blessing. You know, some of us who maybe had the opportunity to go to Auburn games take that for granted. And I hope whoever wins these tickets actually goes. We do want you to take some pictures, tag us, right? Like, let us know that you win, you enjoyed the game. And if for some reason you win these tickets and you can't go, I hope that you'll bless somebody else with them. Indeed. Bless somebody else in our community with them. So I'm looking forward to giving those away here in a few weeks.
Indeed. Listen, we got a question that it was asked previously a while back, but I held on. I was able to find it, and I haven't moved off on it, so I haven't seen any new comments. But the question is about our O-line by Shea Presley. Thoughts on Auburn being named the number 1 offensive line by who?
Okay, so
you got that, B?
I got it pulled up. It's andthevalleyShook.com. They're
sounds like LSU.
It is LSU. So it's a writer for them, and he's got us ranked number 1 returning offensive line, Bama 2, Florida 3. And so just to quickly summarize some of the points
explain?
He made. Yeah, he makes a couple points. So he says it's one of the best lines in the SEC already. All right, guy. The Tigers average 2.95 ALY, I'm not sure what metric that is, and 5.53 sacks given up per 100 attempts, both in the top quartile of the conference. Okay, so listen. The rest is just we've got people coming back. The sacks per attempt metric is deceptively misleading.
Yeah.
Because it depends on your quarterback getting sacked, and our quarterback would not stay in the pocket to save his life, or to save, literally could not do it when it needed to be done. So he didn't get sacked a lot. Matter of fact, wasn't his thing coming into college, he didn't take a sack his entire last 2 seasons in high school because he doesn't stay in the pocket to make the throws that need to be made. Our offensive line giving up sacks. Sometimes, yes, he got pressure when he shouldn't have gotten pressure. Bo got pressure plenty of times when he shouldn't have. But also, we've watched film breakdowns with King, an offensive lineman, a pro offensive lineman. Bo doesn't stay in the pocket when he needs to stay in the pocket, or at least he has not to this point in his career. So how many sacks they give up does not make them great. They still gave up pressure in certain situations where, under normal circumstances, if the quarterback was doing what he's supposed to do, he would have gotten sacked. And sometimes that needs to happen. It's okay if that happens sometimes.
Right.
We just need a quarterback that knows when to stay back there and take the sack, when to chuck it and throw it away, which also Bo didn't do a lot. He ran sometimes. There were certain situations where he may have run and gotten hit for a loss, or he ran and got out of bounds, or whatever the case may be. And that doesn't look bad on the O-line. However, it still was a situation where we got to him, or they got to him, pressure got to the quarterback, and it shouldn't have. So this is deceptive. Now, let's give them credit for one thing. We don't know if the offensive line is a good, very good, or great run blocking offensive line, because our previous coaching staff didn't make them do that as much as they should have for us to have had as shaky a pass game as we did. We should have run more often, honestly. We seemed to do it really well when we were committed to it at a certain point last season. We may be able to surprise. And again, I think I've said this plenty of times. I am more on the boat that we did not have the right people at the helm. And that made us worse than our talent actually was for last year and for the year before that. So I think just by removing a bad coach and putting a decent coach there, I don't know if Harsin's going to be decent, great, whatever. I think just removing a bad coaching situation is going to make every piece of our team better, and that includes the offensive line. So I think we have potential to not be like bottom third, and definitely be better than what our rap has been for the offseason. But the best returning offensive line, like, that's some nonsense. This is nonsense. Is that because we beat LSU so bad, so they're trying to hype us up?
I think it's based mostly just in the most experience coming back. I think.
Yeah, and that's
all, yeah. I mean, that's the only argument you could really make there. I don't want to get down on these guys. I'm on the record many times as saying I don't think that they were as bad as people try to give them credit for. Now, run blocking was above average last year. Yeah. Pass blocking was definitely below average, but there are a bunch of external factors there. Now, the sack thing,
absolutely,
about how many sacks they give up. So, first of all, Bo, like you said it, B, Bo doesn't take sacks.
Right.
So it's not really about them not giving up sacks. It's more just about the quarterback is too hard to catch.
Right.
And so that could be a good or a bad thing sometimes with that quarterback. But I don't attribute. But to your point, if he stayed in the pocket more, they would give up more sacks. And I'm not so sure that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, as long as you're making plays when they're there.
Right.
Joe Burrow got sacked 38 times in his Heisman season.
Yeah.
Jarrett Stidham in 2017, last real good year we've seen from an Auburn quarterback, got sacked 36 times.
Yeah.
That line gave up a ton of sacks, and he was still productive. So, if you're going to sit in the pocket, it's kind of like in basketball, right? If you're a shot blocker, you're going to get dunked on.
Yeah.
You can't avoid it. It doesn't make you a terrible shot blocker. It just means, like, if you have a pocket passer quarterback, he's going to get sacked sometimes because the people on the other side of the ball are going to have something to say about it every once in a while.
Right.
He's not going to have nowhere to go with the ball.
Yeah.
Sometimes he has to eat it.
Right. I mean, receivers maybe couldn't create separation. And, what I would have liked to see is I would have liked to see more throwaways. Right. If it's not sacks, more throwaways than we saw. I don't remember the exact number, but over the last 5 games of last season, Bo had 4 or 5 throwaways total.
Yeah.
And the way our offense sputtered, you think he'd have more throwaways than that.
Yeah.
Right. Should have had more throwaways than that. So it's going to come down to, with this offensive line, it's going to come down to scheme. And getting rid of the ball. Listen, help everybody out. The scheme has to help everybody. And for some reason, when we talk about wide receivers and quarterback and running back, we acknowledge that the scheme hurts them, but nobody seems to acknowledge that the scheme hurts the offensive line just as much too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow we don't extend that grace to them. I think that's ridiculous.
Right.
It definitely hurts them.
Well, listen, how many film reviews have we seen where the quarterback was asked to just stay in the pocket and the O-line build a pocket that extended past 3 seconds against top tier defenses while the receivers get downfield, right? And you're not giving a quarterback an option to drop the check down and drop the ball off to someone when the pressure gets on.
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to look worse than what it is. And again, this is Ike's point. Shout out to Ike watching with us. Not as bad as advertised, but he doesn't feel like we're the best. And I think that's fair. But at the same time, the coaching staff can do something this year to make them look better than what they did last year by simply the plays that you're calling and the options that you're giving the quarterback to check down should he find himself being pressured. Yeah,
man. I'm telling you, but that's scheme that you're talking about.
Correct.
Right. And that's how you can help everybody, because this O-line, scheming around your deficiencies, if you know we're weak in pass blocking, having a bunch of slow developing run play action plays are not a good idea for that O-line.
Yeah.
right? If they're struggling with pass blocking. And what we've seen in the past is they continue to try to shove that square peg into that round hole, regardless of whatever type of O-line we have. Instead of adjusting the scheme to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands a little faster and, give the quarterback some quick and easy decisions to make to ease some pressure off this O-line. Yeah. Once you start hitting those free throws, man, the defense starts to back off a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you can start to play to your strengths a little bit and run the ball down their throat.
Now you got lanes for Tank, Shivers. Yeah.
That includes hitting the pass over the top every once in a while, too. Everybody's got a role to play. If your O-line's not going to be perfect, then you need to take what the defense gives you. And when you get an open guy downfield, you have to make those plays, right? You got to put the ball on the money and the receiver has to catch it. And you got to make them pay when you get a chance, because we're not in a position where our offense, it may not be good enough to miss those plays and win games. And that's what we saw last year.
Yeah.
You can't miss those plays and win games. So the most underrated stat I think that people don't understand when it comes to protection, to pass blocking, is time to throw. You do not need people don't understand the concept of, listen, 3 seconds is a lifetime in football.
Right.
To block it's not that long. And the best quarterbacks in our league had the ball out of their hands in roughly about 2.5 seconds. Our quarterback had 2.89 seconds on average to throw the ball last year. So there was enough time there to find somebody if the scheme was good.
Yeah.
But the scheme was bad. So after 2.89 seconds, everybody's still covered, or they're all running go routes and there's no check down. That hurts quarterback, O-line, and receivers.
Listen, check our upcoming. If you're and you are, listen, check our upcoming. For the record, we're going to talk about tight end usage, and what's necessary under this new coaching staff. Quick throws to the tight end. That was we avoided the middle of the field. Right, we stayed away from the middle of the field. So now that you have a coach that knows how to attack opposing defenses, or at least have a scheme that allows for them to do that, we should see more of that.
Now, one other thing that we know, and we're sitting here, we started the show talking about wide receivers and what we do or don't have there. While the other teams who had quick release offenses, they had mismatches that allowed them. Like Devontae Smith was not somebody you had to worry about whether or not he was going to get open.
Right.
And after he's burning people all the time, you can just kind of like, listen, I'm just going to throw this on. I know my guy. I can make this throw. If he's neck and neck, I can throw it to him. The same thing with Kadarius Toney and Pitts.
Yeah.
You got mismatch nightmares. It makes it a lot easier. Do we have enough mismatches? I don't know yet. We don't know. We hope we find some. We know Tank is a mismatch. That's our one trump card. We got Tank. Right. We can adjust the whole defense with a very strong run game. We can make you have to account for Tank running the ball out of the backfield. Now, what else can we find off of that?
Yeah. Right.
Indeed.
Indeed. If you don't have mismatches, you have to scheme mismatches.
Right.
You need to scheme mismatches. Right. So, get these guys in, get your fastest guy somehow being covered by a linebacker or something where he can't cover them. Right. Mm-hmm. Scheme those mismatches into the game plan. That's going to come down to the tape, watching the tape, understanding your opponent, and knowing how to exploit their weaknesses and how to exploit have them, fall prey to what they think your weaknesses are. So what we're going to see next year when we talk about this is that a lot of people are going to come in thinking Auburn cannot beat us down the field. You know why? Because it's not on tape. And we're going to get dared to take that shot a lot. And until you start hitting them, teams are not going to respect it.
For sure.
They're just not. So they're going to pin their ears back and they're going to come after the quarterback, which is going to put a lot of pressure on this O-line. Right? Against blitz after blitz after blitz. It's not fair. It's not fair to put all of that on them, that they have to pick up every blitz. Defenses in our league are too talented. You have to hit those shots down the field every once in a while to keep the defense honest.
Yeah.
And help them out some.
And listen, before we get into this giveaway, I do want to say this, Mike. We have a great defense that this offense can utilize in these moments, because they can put Auburn in these scenarios where they can figure out, here's how we can attack these defenses here. Show them throw everything at this offense so they'll see it on game day.
Yeah.
And so, again, to your point, that's what I would do. That's exactly how I would attack this offense. Make them beat you over the top. And if they figure out a way to burn defenses by sending people and putting them in the box, then again, you start creating room for Tank and those guys underneath to work.
Right. The vertical passing game is going to be so important to Auburn's offensive success next year. Indeed. Right. That has been the missing component. Beyond 10 yards, our completion percentage is piss poor. Yeah. And we have to improve that. But that again, that's going to have an effect on the O-line, right? Sure. If we cannot do that. People are going to put a lot of pressure on these guys and accepting mistakes from everybody, but expecting perfection of your O-line every play, to me, is just not fair. Right. So, yes, I'm caping for the O-line. They have a lot of things that they can work on.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it is fair to put the entirety of our offense's success or failure on them.
Or any one group.
Yeah. Not if the scheme is bad. So we expect that they will fix that. And then after you have the scheme is right, and we can see that, everybody just has to do their job.
Right.
What they need to do is they need to give our quarterback about 3 seconds on every play if they can. Then receivers have to get open. And then the quarterback has to hit them when they're open.
Right.
That's it, man. That's how the offense works. But if they're giving up less than 2 seconds, then okay, yes, that's on them.
Yeah, we got a problem there.
We have a problem.
Well, again, the film we saw, the Georgia, like that can't happen, right? Like we were seeing guys running just untouched, getting into the backfield, like stuff like that can't happen, right? Yeah. But again, some of the guys that we talked about, they look better in spring. So we hope that with the strength and conditioning and the development that's going on with them, that these guys make a step forward and that we do see improved play in pass pro with the O-line.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this mug that we're about to give away, bro.
Yeah, man. Listen. So we are giving away a mug. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. I won't spend too much time here. You guys know the routine by now. So
how many we got today?
We got 78 entries out of 188. That's not quite 50%, but we're getting there. So I'll give you guys 10 more seconds to get in this. Hashtag get your weight up. You have to be present here at the end to win. We're going to call it out. We will redraw Nino Brown. Send me your address. You won twice. Lightning struck twice in the same spot.
He said he sent it. He said he did. So he might have the wrong email address. We'll have to get it to him.
Yeah, business at the War Report to get that. So I see a couple more of you jumping in here. 84. Can I get to 50% here on the live cast? And we will send you a War Report coffee mug. I have one in here. Oh, wait, that's not it. I have one. And that's my favorite mug. So
let's right here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll this draw. Who's it going to be? Nino Brown.
If he wins again, we need a new system for this.
Yeah, right. Oh,
look at that, Jeremy.
Oh, Gabrielle. I thought
they did you dirty, Gabrielle. Congrats, Jeremy. Congrats,
Jeremy. Another frequenter. We're glad to see somebody who's in here all the time winning something.
Listen, Jeremy, are you here? Shout us out in the comments.
I've definitely seen him commenting.
Yeah, I've seen him today.
You know the rules. We got to treat them all the same.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I see him at 302. Okay, there you go. Woo-hoo. All right, listen, email us business at the War Report. Send us your address so we can get that out to you immediately. Thank you for being a listener. Sorry, Gabby. That was excruciating.
Just in case, there you go. You can email us there.
Yeah, business at the War Report.
All right, well, we do have someone else to discuss in terms of commitment. We haven't forgotten about him. Caleb Wooten. We got a commitment for 2022.
Wooden.
Go ahead.
Wooden. It's Wooden.
Wooden.
It's Wooden's little brother, not Wooden.
Yeah.
You said Wooden.
Oh, Wooden. My bad. Here's his information. Here's 6'1", 180 pounds out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, 3-star. 45th state safety in state, or of all linebackers, 75th in the state. Younger brother of Kobe Wooden, had offers for West Virginia, Georgia Tech, Louisville, and others, yet chose Auburn. Of course, he will be a legacy. So right now he is a safety, but there's an opportunity for him. Potentially he could move down into linebacker. So he could be used in multiple different ways. He can also play in the slot or as a nickel back. Like, they could use him in various. And if you've noticed, this has been kind of a trend with some of these guys who play safety. They could do more than one particular thing. So I'm starting to see a trend here in terms of the type of guys that Derek Mason is looking for. A guy who could do more than just one thing at that position. So what are our thoughts on this kid? Start with you, B.
Well, I like the idea of moving any guy who, if you've got a little too slow for the secondary and a willingness to hit, then you're primed to be kind of a hybrid linebacker safety player. And I'm glad we're not boxing guys in. I mean, Sherwood just got into the 4th round based on that. He didn't have the speed necessarily to be an elite secondary prospect, but when you're willing to hit, you're willing to come down and make some contact, then you can have a role doing that. And it's good that we're getting a guy. I'm glad he had some other people chasing him that were decent schools. Now, we didn't have to beat back Georgia or Bama or LSU or Clemson for him. And while I'm glad we got him, I want us to start winning some of those battles. But as a legacy, it makes me wonder, and this is not, I have not watched his tape, so I don't know how good a player he is. The last legacy we got was Cameron Brown, and I don't know if I've seen him on the field yet. But when you've got a guy who is producing like Derek Brown produces, are you going to say no to him? No, you're not going to say no to his little brother. Of course, Wooden is not quite the prospect, is not the player that Derek Brown was, so maybe there's not that much favoritism going on. I mean, I think it was Nate Craig Myers' little brother came here, kind of the same thing, Javon Myers. It was because we wanted and needed Nate Craig Myers to be here and stay here, so we gave his little brother a look. And a lot of times, you know, those guys aren't necessarily players we would have been looking at if their older brothers weren't here with big names and big time potential and production. So I'm hoping that this is not that. I'm not saying it is. I just don't know. It definitely has been that in the past. I don't know. But if there's any staff I want to give credit for getting the guys that we need, because they don't seem to mind upsetting the balance of the roster. So I don't think that they would go and get a guy just to say, hey, listen, we got your little brother, please stay with us. This staff seems to be going, I'm getting the guys who I know will do what we say do, who will work the way we expect them to work, and who we know will contribute to the team. So I'm hoping that's another one of these, but I'm never going to say, you know, it's a bad thing to get more talent. So more talent's a good thing. Let's just hope it's for the right reasons that we got.
I think so. And I want to shout out Wesley Hilson. I love this post here. I did hear about this. This guy camped recently, and Derek Mason was impressed with this kid. And so the offer came shortly after this kid camped. So they had an opportunity to see this kid up close and personal, see how he performs. They were impressed with him, and the offer came. So again, one of the things that we want to make sure this staff is doing a good job of is evaluating the talent, right? It's great that your older brother's here at Auburn, but can you do what we need you to do? Right.
Right.
And so if this kid is able to, if he's checking off those boxes right in front of him, you're not even watching film. You can see this kid. Right. You can reach out and touch this kid. And if he's doing what you want to do on defense, I'm cool with it. But Mike G, what's your thoughts, bro?
We seem to be stacking the box on defense here, man, particularly in the secondary, right? Like we are. I like it. I like the move. I read a little bit of his draft profile. It sounds like a kid who is definitely going to take a little bit of molding, you know. So he's not a guy that's going to step in year one and start knocking heads off. But you know, he gets in our system. We get him in the weight room. He learns the system, and you know, he's a second or third year guy that's, you know, very productive. Should be a mainstay in your secondary. So I mean, I don't have a ton to say. I like him. I like the kid. and I like this staff to develop him. So he was recruited by Derek Mason himself.
Yeah,
and we know his track record with DB. So like, I love it. I love the move.
Barney Knight, shout out to you, man. This is something I've been hearing about some of the guys that we've been recruiting, particularly the linebacker out of Auburn High, is that these guys play with a great level of understanding of the game, right? And these are two things that I've been hearing consistently with the kids that they've been recruiting or going after is a high level understanding of the game and a serious motor and motivation to play at a very high level, right? And so I think those are two things that we're seeing with who they're going after, and it says a lot about just the change and the fact that, and again, to your point, B, I think that's going to come with time. I think it's going to come with time when we start competing with the LSUs, the Georgias, and Alabamas, because to be fair, this coaching staff has been behind the 8 ball due to the dead period, right? And so a lot of these kids in the 2022 class, they don't really know this staff like that. Right. And so I think for Auburn doing what they're doing, finding kids like this, finding guys out of the portal, like this is how Auburn's going to have to make its living until they're able to show something on the field to actually will entice these kids to know that, hey, Auburn is a place where I can come to and succeed. Right. So I think that we have to kind of keep that in mind. But again, if these guys are evaluating these guys and they're impressed with what they're seeing, we got to trust the coaching staff that they're getting paid a lot of money to do what we have never done in our lives. Right. So I just trust them that they're making the right decisions. And I do know that, Mike, we are losing quite a bit of guys at the secondary after this season. So there is a need to go after a lot of guys in the secondary because you definitely want some, not only bodies to fill in next year, but you want some depth too. Right. So that's another, again, roster management is just, it's going to look different, but we have a whole staff assessing what our needs are and going after. And again, I trust what they're doing. So.
Right. Yeah, I definitely trust what they're doing on defense. Right. Like, I mean, this is going to be hopefully the start of just kind of like building a pipeline of guys who, just kind of come into the program. And again, by year 2 or 3, they are solid contributors. Right. And possibly draft picks. Right. We should be producing draft picks at that position every year in our league.
Yeah. Indeed. I don't know if you guys have we seen any good questions? Do you guys have anything else y'all wanted to add, or are we pretty much towards the end?
Comment section has been interesting today.
As usual. Everybody was naming a couple of the legacies, and I think it was Stu over here that said, "Hey, we've had some legacies that did just fine. Absolutely, we have. We've also got some that haven't done much of anything, and I'm hoping it's more of these that you named instead of the last few." Before Wooden's pickup.
Yeah, when we're talking about players, right? This is kind of in theme with today's show. When you're talking about bringing in talent, it's can this staff evaluate talent? And so when you're looking at a guy like Demetrius Robertson coming in, that's about talent evaluation. You're not just bringing in warm bodies just to bring them in.
Right.
You have to believe that this kid has a ton of talent and can contribute in this particular situation. So for a big thing for fans will be, can we trust that evaluation? Because I don't know that we've always trusted it before. Right. Not with as many guys who have come in highly recruited and then ended up transferring or not contributing at all.
Right.
In high numbers at Auburn too. An average 9 recruiting class over the last decade.
Listen, I think we're going to find out a lot this year. Like, we're going to find out a lot about Tony Fair. We're going to find out a lot about the kid from Vandy who transferred, who plays safety. Like, we're going to learn a lot about these kids, and we're going to get a good idea about how they do, in fact, evaluate talent. Are these guys clear misses, or are we going to be seeing something out of these kids to kind of say, all right, I get why they went after this guy. I get why we signed several guys in the secondary. These guys can ball, right? So we're gonna learn a lot this fall about this coaching staff. We're going to learn a lot about how they evaluate talent as well as the talent they brought to Auburn. So, well, listen, guys, I think that's it. I think that's it for a good Sunday show. Mike G, for those who aren't aware, talk to them about how they can enter to win potential season or the game tickets to Akron.
Listen, become an insider first and foremost. If you are an insider, you are entered into this drawing 3 times already. So we will draw that and announce the winner on August 14th in our Wednesday night war room. If you're a supporter, you get 2 entries. And other than that, you will have, after today, you will have 3 more chances to get entries. We did 1 last week. We're doing another one this week. So if you're an insider, you could have possibly 8 entries into this drawing. If you're a supporter, you can have 7 entries into the drawing. And if you're just a subscriber and a loyal listener, you can get 5 entries into this drawing. So what we want you guys to do is go over and find us on Instagram. Like and follow us on Instagram. Like the post about today's weekend tailgate, and then just drop a comment with your YouTube handle and tag 2 people in that post to get entered into that. So that's what we want you guys to do. Like us, like and follow, like the post, and then drop a comment on that post with your YouTube handle so we know who to enter in, because we're entering you guys based on your YouTube handles, and then tag 2 people on that post so that we can help get the word out about the War Report. Looking forward to giving away those tickets, certainly. Other than that, we're partnered with the Lee County Humane Society. You guys know what it is. You can find this link to donate in the About section of our YouTube channel. Help us save animals like Albie and Milo. We want to put this good back into the world and help other people find that joy. Last but certainly not least, our merch store is live. Get your Watch the Film t-shirts, get your Wait Up Lettermans. All that stuff is in there. It's hot, ready to go. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the season. I will say this last thing about being an insider. We will have a full game day experience. So for those of you, if you don't win tickets to the Akron game, feel free to come commune with us on Saturdays. Pre-game, halftime, post-game. It is so much fun. Part of the reason why the War Report started is that, Brian and Ike would call each other before, at halftime, and after the game, and Caesar and I would do the same thing. So we would get on the phone. Hey man, what the hell, Gus? And then, all right, I'll call you back after the game. Right. So, we want to be able to do that with you guys, with our community, essentially this fall. So pre-game, halftime, post game, we will be with you guys, and then we're still going to do a Sunday weekend tailgate as well as a Monday film review. That's going to be insider only content. We're going to deep dive on a lot of stuff. Making it insider only is a way to keep that particular content troll free. We're not doing that for views. We're doing that to give something back to our subscribers who support our content. So it will be Auburn fans only in our film reviews. That's not something we want to give away to the masses. We just want that to be information. If you watch the War Report, you're going to understand the game a little bit better after these film reviews, right? We will at times have former players join us to break down the film on what we saw. It's going to be a really exciting segment. So if you've seen Chop It Up with a Pro film review, we're going to give you one of those every single week during the season. Insider only. It's going to be so much fun. So and we're going to be doing power. I'm going to be doing power rankings, and it's going to be more content than we've given in the past. So again, it's $5.99 well spent. I'll put it to you that way. And also the family grows. Shout out Brandon Thomas for becoming a new member, man.
You.
Welcome to the family. Man. So definitely, guys, you definitely want to sign up and get ahead of that, because we got some great content in store for you guys for the season. Please be sure, as always, to share our videos on social media using hashtag #GetYourWeightUp. Like and subscribe to us on our YouTube page. If you haven't already, please do that. That helps us out a ton, especially hitting that like button. Drop a comment in the comment section as well after post. Also, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at The War Report. You can also find us at TW Report on TikTok. That's it for now, but we got plenty more in store, so we'll holler at you guys later in the week. But as always, it's always War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.